Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Chasing the Killers. So I'm sorry I missed yesterday's video, but just wasn't feeling particularly well, and my attempt at actually trying to solve was just absolutely messy. That I thought, go back to bed, Sleuth, feel better, come back tomorrow with a fantastic puzzle. And who better than to actually be featuring yet another puzzle from FullDeck and Missing a Few Cards, today's constructors. So we know we're going to be in for a good time. As with the time of recording, 95% rating, as expected. And yeah, of course, a scene where you're chasing the killers is exactly what I'm looking at. Sleuth, I imagine always is sort of like running on rooftops, chasing criminals. But it could be it's just I played too much Assassin's Creed in the past. Anyway, let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule set with Chasing the Killers by FullDeck and Missing a Few Cards. So, rules-wise, they have standard Sudoku, cages, and little killers. And if you know what all of that means, you know what to do. Link in the description down below for you to play. Now, on the off chance that you don't know what all of that means, quick walkthrough. Standard Sudoku means place the digits 1 to 9 once each without any repeat. So in every row, in every column, in every 3x3 box. So nothing unusual here. Then we have the cages. So digits in cages cannot repeat and must sum to the value shown in the upper left corner of the cage. So these three cells have to add up to 6. These three have to add up to 7. If this cell is a 3, this would have to be a 9 to make sure that on aggregate these two cells add up to 12. And obviously you can't repeat. I can't do something like 1, 1. You can see it already shows an error to add up to 7. Right, what else? We've got little killers. So the clues outside the grid are the sum of the digits along the indicated diagonal, and digits may repeat if allowed by other rules. So means these three cells, as indicated by this diagonal, have to add up to 10. So do these three, and this one here with 4 cells needs to add up to 35. So, oh, and of course we can have, it can only happen really on the 35, where I could have repeated digits because they are actually genuinely in different rows, columns, and boxes. That's going to be allowed. So as always, to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. With that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. And you know I'm going to start at the 35. It is in 4 cells, actually quite difficult to do. Because the maximum I can put in here is all 9s, which obviously I can't do in box 7. But that only gets me to 36. 4 times 9. So I only have 1 degree of freedom, which I have to use in here with the 8 and 9. And then I have 2 explicit 9s when we have our break-in under 30 seconds. 12 cage with a 9, that's got to be a 3. 13 cage with 8 and 9. This has to be either 5 or, why am I struggling with this, 4. The 7 cage is explicit. 3 cells that add up to 7 without any repeats can only be 1, 2, and 4. 6 cage here can only be 1, 2, and 3. This can only be 1, 2, and 4. This is all useful when you think in the context of there has to be a 1 and a 2 in here. There has to be a 1 and a 2 in there. So essentially, we've used up all of the 1s and 2s in columns 3 and 4. And we actually have, we're about to use them as well in rows 6 and 7 because of this 5 cage. A 5 is either 1, 4 or 2, 3. And once again, actually, I'm not sure this is true. I definitely have a digit because essentially, if this is 2, 3, I can't have any more 2s. It can't be 1, 4. So I'm jumping up ahead a little bit. 9 cage and 3 cells. Let's talk about options for that. It's either 1, 2, 6, I believe, 1, 3, 5, or 2, 3, 4. Now notice that, what am I trying to notice? That if I eliminate the 1s as an option, so essentially if this is 1, 2, 4 and this is 1, 4, I can't have 1s in here. Therefore, I can't use 1, 2, 6 and 1, 3, 5. I can only use 2, 3, 4. But I've also eliminated the 4s in row 6 and 7. So I've broken that option as well. So this cannot be 1, 4. This has to be 2, 3. And then I've eliminated the 2s inside the 9 cage because of rows 6 and 7 must have a 2 either inside the 5 or the 7 cage. So no 1, 2, 6, not 2, 3, 4. This is explicitly 1, 3, 5. And I'm definitely going to think about doing some Sudoku right now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Essentially, I've got 4 digits. The 4 has to be here, the 3 has to be there, so it's not there, and it's not here. It's not quite as obvious in column 6 because I actually have 5 digits, so they don't have quite the same unique constraint. In the rows, however, certainly I've got all 5 low digits now. This has to have a 5. This has to be the 4, because there's literally no other place for it. So that's the 4, that's another digit. And then we end up with 1, 2, 3, yeah. And then a definite 5 in here, yeah. But that's as far as I could take it right now, unless I can actually place some more digits. So let's do that. We've got 6, 7, and 8 remaining inside the 15 cage. That's 6, 7, 8 with 7, 8, 9. And then slowly building up to something here. Maybe time to chase the actual killers, as explicitly given by the title, and here as well. So where am I going with this? Let's chase this killer first. So I need 2 cells that add up to 7 plus the 3 to get me to 10. That could be 1, 6, that could be 2, 5. Can't be anything else. The 1, 2, and 3, however, in row 7 tells me that's not the 1, 2, and therefore this is not the 5, 6. Okay. Now 11 in 3 cells. So I think we're going to have, like, I'm going to put these up somewhere. We've got 11, 12, and 10 kind of interplaying with one another. So let's talk about 10 for a second. In 3 cells, it's either 1, 2, 7, 1, 3, 6, 1, 4, 5, or 2, 3, 5. It's quite a few options, unfortunately. In 11, I think I can do 1, 2, 8, 1, 3, 7, 1, 4, 6. And presumably without the 1, I can do 2, 3, 6, and 2, 4, 5. This is not great. So, I mean, I have to have another 1, 2. So there's another 1, 2 inside the 11 cage in here, with either another 2 digits that add up to 10. Actually, I mean, I don't have 3s. So 2, 3, 6, and 1, 3, 7 are gone. I don't have 8, 9. So 1, 2, 8 is gone. So this is 1, 4, 6, or 2, 4, 5. Essentially, the 5 and 6 and the 1 and 2 are trading places. And there's a definite 4 in here, and there's a definite no 7 there. So that's not a 7. And therefore this is not an 8. Okay. Not hugely helpful, if I'm honest. This 10 cage maybe? Just kind of like keep in mind these references here. I am going to clean them up for now. What is going on? What am I chasing? So 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. These are 4, 5, 6s. Can I do anything with that? I'm not sure I can right now. There's clearly a step I am missing, like this 4 telling me that's a 5, therefore that's an 8, therefore that's a 9, therefore that's an 8, and that's a 7. Like that. And therefore this is a 6, 8 pair. Right, this is probably going to be a little bit more approachable now. And the reason I'm saying this is going to be a bit more approachable is we can actually do some simple geometry here. This box has all of the digits 1 to 9. You add them all up, we know that they are 45. I can see I have line of sight of 10 of them, and then another 12 and 8, so that's another 20. So I've got 30 in these cells. These 2 cells have to add up to 9. Sorry, have to add up to 15. And 15, of course, is not 7, 8. It's not available. It's 6, 9. And that 9 says that's 9. That's 6. Bit of a shame I left my options here for the 10 and 12. I didn't do the 10. Sorry, the 12, excuse me. Right. So 2, 3, 5 in here absolutely works. 1, 2, 3 as well. Sorry, 1, 2, 7 also does. So not sure this is the killer to chase right now. This 6, of course, gave me a 5. This had to add up to 7, so that's the 2. This is now a 1, 4, 6 setup. and this is just a 4. The 9s might be helpful. Sudoku might be helpful. That's more a generic statement, actually. I want to go anywhere explicitly here. 8. Let's kind of move vertically this way and just see what's going on. So, I mean, once again, so this is a 4, 8, 9, 12 gauge. It's not 9, 3, it's not 5, 7. It can only be 4 and 8. No 4s is a 4. I'll take it. And then these 3 cells, I am going to pencil mark them, are 2, 3, 7. Okay. Now 2 and 3 would add up to 5. This would have to be 7. That's fine. 2 and 7 would make 9. I think this is like forcing me that it is two, like it's almost any combo I pick would force this to be the remainder of it, strangely enough. So 7 and 3 adds up to 10. It would have to be a 2. So it's not 7 and 3. There is a definite 2 in here. There is no 2 there. But essentially it's either 2, 3 with a 7, or 2, 7 gets me to 9, and therefore I need a 3. Nice. I don't think you can use 8 on the 10 gauge because I can't have a double 1, and the 2 is obviously now used, as is the 3. So this is probably going to be relatively easy to chase. These 2 cells need to add up to 6, and 2, 4 are not available, so this can only be 1, 5. And then these are 6, 8, 9. In fact, no 8s. 8, 5, 6, 9 pair. Lovely. And then 1, 2, of course, gave me a 5. Pay attention. And a 4. And then the 8, of course, gave me a 6 and an 8. I really should actually just play sometimes with pencil mark checking on. Yeah, that's all I get right now. I don't think I'm going to need to color these, but yeah, I'm going to keep my mind open to that. So this is still like feeling like a bit of a dead end in that lots of options work unless this is resolved somehow or similar. I mean, we can do a bit of Sudoku. We should always do a bit of Sudoku. So these are 6, 7, 8. Not 7 or 8. So that's just 6. That 4, of course, means that's not a 4. That's a 1, 2 pair. That's 3, that's 4. That's not 4. If I can type, and that's not 3. That's a 1, 2 pair. Therefore, that's 3. That's 5. That's 1. That's 2, 1. 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2. The 2 doesn't entirely help us still. I don't think, because I could still do 10 in quite a few different ways. I could do 2, 7, and 1. I think I can still do 2, 3, and 5. Yeah, this is it. And then the 12 definitely has a 4. And then 2 cells that add up to 8, which makes sense. Okay. Where next? I mean, that was not 5 or 7. Could still be 3, 9. Could still be 4, 8. Not sure. Don't really want to pencil mark this. Maybe not, but I've done it. Oh, again, 8 can't be on a 10 little killer clue. So that's got to be 3, therefore that's got to be 9. So yes, it was actually helpful to pencil mark. So that's 7, that's 2, that's 3, that's 7, that's 3. Doesn't help me. Oh yes, it does. 8 and 7. Now these 2 cells have to add up to 7. And again, it's either 1, 6, which it isn't, or it's 2, 5, which it is. 2 and 5. And then whatever I'm left with in here, I think it can only be 1, 4, and 6, leaving 7, 8, and 9 out here. So yeah, it is 1, 4, 6. Doesn't look like I'm placing any of them. And then 7, 8, 9. Well, the 8s are not here. That's the 8. That's the 7. That's the 9. That's the 4. That 9 gave me 6 and 9. And I think we have chased almost successfully all the little killers. Now with that 7, yes, I have. 5, 3, and therefore 1, 4, 7. No 4s is a 4, 7, 1, 6, 1. And I think just Sudoku to bring it home. Lovely puzzle. I mean, famous last words. I could still absolutely mess it up from here. So not going to celebrate just yet. Needs a 1 still. 7 and 9. No, I made a mistake. You see what I mean by I'm not going to celebrate just yet? How did I make a mistake here? I'm sure it's a Sudoku mistake as opposed to the other maths being wrong. So what I'm going to do is ignore box 5, do the rest, and hopefully there'll be something obvious that I can just fix. Famous last words. I'm sure it's a typo somewhere. Right, what's going on here? Apparently, I need a 7 there. Apparently. That's quite a bad typo, because I was quite happy with that logic around the 2, 3, 7 up there. Let's just run with it. So the 7s and 9s, I have made a typo somewhere. Just looking around. Let's assume for a second these were the mistakes. No. Dear, oh dear. Okay, let's plug in the numbers as they're meant to be and just figure out what's it telling me. I'm going to do something cheeky and just lose everything outside of the cages, because that's kind of where I've certainly made a mistake. All of these. Just kind of revisit them for a second. Not ideal. Definitely not ideal. I also want to delete those. Do I? No. That 8 forced to 7 and 9, so that's correct. So that forces it to be 5 and 3. I think that's still correct. I'm going to ignore that 8 for a second, although not sure I can. Yeah. And then we'll play it from here. And this is still saying 6, but I mean, let's slowly do this one more time. Oh, my maths checks out, doesn't it? Yeah, the 7 had to be here because of the 7, 8 cage, the 9. So that's still correct. So far, I think I've made a logic in the, like an error in the logic as opposed to a typo, which is what I was hoping for. Yeah, you see, this cell can't be 7 or 9. Huh. I'm probably going to have to rewind quite a bit then. Maybe I got back to solving a bit too early. Wow. Essentially, I'm rewinding to that top left corner where I just wanted to double check what I'm doing here. Right, so we ended up with a 6 in here for some reason. Why? Because that was a 5, but why? Because, you see, now I'm going to go further. Why did I place a 6 in here? So 6 would leave us with 1, 4 on the 10 cage. Sorry, with a 4, so that would be 1, 3. 1, 3, 6 is a possibility. So why did I place a 6 in here? I don't get it. Was that a typo? Wow, that was all the way back at the start. That's redoing the puzzle almost. Like I'd be more tempted to redo the video at this point. So what's remaining is 4, 5, 6. We kind of remember that this is a bit of a lost cause. This is all good for me. Of course, because it had to add up to 15. Sorry, that's why. We made that deduction. So that meant that was 5, that was 4. This was 2. This was 1, 4, 6. And yes, I'm not going to pencil mark the 12 and 10. But then the 5 and 9 makes this 4, 8. And then I think that decision is still solid. So that can only be the 4. That can only be the 8. And then these two cells add up to 6. And it's 1, 5. Because it can't be 2, 4. Then the 12 cage. Half tempted to use, to speed this up, but to use the little killer cage, calculator, whatever it's called. Right. So, no 1s. The 1 is explicitly outside it. No 4s. It can only be 2, 3, 7. So this hasn't changed. The 2 has to be there. 3, 7. And therefore this is 3, 7. No change. And then these are 6, 8, 9. No 8s. Again, no change. 8 and 5. 8 gave me 6 and 8 here. I am still like able to resolve these now. There's a definite 5 in here, for example. There's a definite 3 in here. No, I'm not able to resolve these. Never mind. The 5 gave me the 1 and 5. And essentially down here is another, let me just double check, is indeed another 3, 7. I am going to actually switch on pencil mark checking as well. Just, you guys don't need to see how badly I've butchered this. Which badly is fairly bad. How did I put a 3 in here? That was meant to be a 4. Only place for a 4. Only place for a 3. No 3s. This is just a known digit of 4. Right. Now from here, I jumped, if I remember, onto the 9 cage, which feels premature, but fine. Because it gave me a clue about what's going on in here. For some reason, I'm not able to resolve it this time, which I think makes more sense. Let's focus on the 9 cage, which is not 1, 8. Sorry, it can be 1, 8. It is not 4, 5. And obviously it doesn't contain 9s. The 1s and 2s, if they're there, is in here with 7 and 8. And if it's 3, 6, that's the 6, that's the 3. That is very different from what I had last time. I think that was the mistake I made. Okay. 11 cage. Yeah, no clue. Right, so 10, 11. What about the 12 cage? Can I do anything useful with that? No. I don't know how I sort of sped up through this bit. So this was 6, 7, 8. Of course, not an 8 in here or a 7, so that's 6. That's a 7, 8 pair. That tells me that's 6, that's 3. So these two cells have to add up to 7. And again, it's 1, 6 or 2, 5. Now, this is 7, 7, 2, 3, 7, 3, 8, 7. I don't know how this was an 8, or am I just misremembering? 1, 5 pair gives me 2, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 5, 1, 5. 8 means that's 2. Lovely. 11 cage now, which doesn't include 2 or 3 or 5. It can only be 1, 4, 6. Which gives me 9 and 6. The 12 cage can only be 4, 8 now. That's the 8, that's the 4. These two cells are 7 and 9. That's the 7, that's the 9. The 7s and 9s are exactly the same. No 7, so let's see. There has to be a 9 here now. This is a 1. The 9 has to be up here. 3 and 5. We can probably use that little killer now, but let's just do some Sudoku because it really threw me off last time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 6 and 9. Right. 1 and something. 1 and 6. No. 6 and 2 and 6. 2, 6, which gives me 1 and 6. Lovely. This is actually explicit now. This is a 5. So to get to 10, this has to be 3. And then the remainder of 1, 4, whatever it is, 7, is indeed 12. And I really don't know where I made that mistake, by the way. Like, I've rewound and I have fixed it. I think the 9 cage I sort of misread as 12. That's probably what happened. I'm going to watch the video a bit later and just try and spot the error. So I hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle. Maybe not the video. And I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.